My name's Amanda Halty, and I'm part of the NCRA Zero Waste Schools team. I'm going to share my slide here, and we can get started. As you know, we are recording this, so please put your camera off if you don't want to be recorded. And let's get ready to reduce, recycle, and compost at school. We are excited to have multiple speakers here today. This is our 12th webinar, and we have a new time. Hopefully this can accommodate more participants, more teachers. Looks like we might take a survey on that and see what is the best. So this is our team, and you are welcome to join us. We put on these webinars to help share best practices and experience with our greater community in California and throughout the United States. So thank you for being here. So please put your mute on, and questions can go in the chat. We will address all questions at the end, and we will be uploading our video to the NCRA Zero Waste School site. And here is our agenda. We have Pleasanton Unified Principals here, and Mallory will introduce them. Our Foothill Middle School students and their teacher, Devin Jackson. And later, Stacey Navarro will be joining us from Joaquin Moraga Intermediate School, and everyone has great insight on green teams and improving sorting at school. So Mallory, I'm going to let you introduce. Should I go to the next slide?
Oh, that sounds good. You can go ahead and go. All right, well, I'm excited to introduce a few principals from Pleasanton Unified that we work with at the Go Green Initiative, who have really done amazing jobs to put their own spin on their bin monitoring programs and make it something that their students are excited to participate in and is well organized and continues year after year. So I've asked them to talk a little bit about how they, organize their programs and make it something that's sustainable over time and that their students are excited about. So I'll hand it over first to Andrea Withers of Valley View Elementary School, and then after that we'll have Lydia Rice from Moore Elementary. So Andrea, if you want to go ahead, take it away.
Sure. Hello, everybody. So excited to talk about the amazing things our students are doing on the green team. Our green team is comprised of several members, and they each play a really important role in the effectiveness and efficiency of our green team. So one important member is our head custodian, and she kind of sort of directs the whole team in terms of supporting students and our new duty supervisor to know which bin to put which items in. We also have signs that indicate which bins each food item should go in. In addition to that, we have 2 teacher representatives that have created a year-long schedule for us for each class to be a part of our sorting of trash at lunchtime. And then we have a new duty supervisors who are also in charge of making this whole system efficient. So they wear green vests if they're going to be sorting trash. So the new duty supervisors take the green vests each week and put the green vests in the teachers' boxes for the classes that are on that week. So then the teacher remembers to have a green vest for a student, to choose a student to support our lunchtime in that week. Along with that, we have 2 5th grade reps that are constant. So the 5th grade reps support the students who are new to learn how to support our whole team to sort trash. They also have a really good time getting on the microphone at lunch. That is one of the perks of being on the green team, is you get to speak into the microphone. So they talk all about which pieces of trash that are current in their lunch that day need to be sorted in what bin and why. They also raise awareness around recycling, why we recycle, why we reuse. And so they do that during lunchtime, and they also create videos as their sort of side project as well. So we do 2 videos a year. one just on reduce, reuse, and recycle, and one on around the holiday time, in which we want to just be really intentional around not wasting resources. And then just putting all those together, we also have outside resources that we try to connect with. So one of those resources might be the Pleasanton Garbage Company. Another one might be our local high school, and trying to just liaise with them to make sure that everyone has that same common understanding and common language. We also have done additional things like support with posters around the school. But I think really the main thing is having each of those people being a really important part of our team and making sure that everything is effective and efficient. So just as part of our model, we have videos and have created a really sort of a system around how we pre-sort the trash before the students are even asked to get up from their tables. So we pre-sort at their table. So all the things that go in landfill are on one side of their tray, and all the things that are organic go on the other side. And then they can hold, usually they can hold the things that go in the landfill, and they can just dump their tray into the organic, then place all the landfill items into landfill and put their tray on the stack of trays. So we've tried to make it efficient. Everything's open before they actually go into the line. So that is how we make our green team effective and efficient here at Valley View.
All right, thanks so much, Andrea. Amanda, if you want to scoot ahead to the more slides, that would be fantastic. And if anyone has any questions, you're free to drop them in the chat and we can ask at the end. All right, so now we have Lydia Rice, who is the vice principal at Moore Elementary School here in Pleasanton Unified.
Hello, thank you for having me. I am super excited to be here and to talk about what we're doing for recycling. I will say it is very similar to Valley View. I am glad to hear. But what I want to say is it's really a team effort with everyone working together to make this work. So like Andrea said, it is our head custodian, it is the noon supervisors, our PTA is a wonderful help. We have parent volunteers, and then of course the teachers and the students all actively participate in our recycling. Our lunchtime's a little bit different. We stagger our lunch. So the first and second graders eat first, then they play. And then while the first and second graders play, the third graders come and eat. Then after third grade is done, first, second, and third all go in. And then we have fourth grade eat while fifth grade plays, and then they swap. So this allows an opportunity for the students to actually work at monitoring different lunch times. So we're starting first with the fourth and fifth graders, whereas the fifth grade will monitor the fourth grade and help them with recycling, and then it'll swap. The fourth graders will help the fifth graders with their recycling. So it gives the students a chance to actually work with their peers, and they're super excited about it. In the spring, we're hoping to add the third graders into the mix, and they'll help the first and second graders with recycling. I will say that our teacher rep has actually organized some really fun field trips too for the fourth and fifth grade. We had a fourth grade actually go today to the transfer station in Oakland to visit through Stop Waste. So that was a great experience, and really working with the students to be more aware of our garbage and what we consume, and working on conserving. Let's see here. I had a few talking points. I think that's just about everything. It seems like it's similar to what's going on at the other school sites. I will say that's our lovely custodian, and she does so much to help encourage the students along with our noon supervisors. We do have a tetracycling program as well, so that students can also recycle all of their wrappers. So we've got compost, we've got tetracycle with the wrappers, and then we also have landfill, and making sure that the pictures are very clear for the students to see, so that they develop the habits into middle and high school and their adult years, realizing about how important it is to recycle.
All right, thanks so much, Lydia. And yeah, I think that this is just fantastic to see, because with elementary schools, obviously the students matriculate up, and hopefully by the time they're in the middle and high schools, they already have a great understanding of what goes where. and the importance of sorting our waste. So Amanda, if you want to move us ahead to the Hearst ones, that would be great. Thank you. So Beth Louderback, who is the vice principal at Hearst Elementary School, will be joining the call later. I can go over a little bit of her information before she arrives, but basically Hearst, similar to Valley View and Moore, has a really successful program with their own, little unique twist on it. They have over 130 student participants every year. And from my understanding, and hopefully Beth can answer some questions about this later on, she sends out a form at the beginning of the school year to all the teachers to solicit volunteers as bin monitors. And having so many student participants means that the time commitment by each student is really minimal. They, volunteer as bin monitors only for a couple of days out of the school year, and that's something that keeps it sort of fun and light, because it does cut into the recess time, I suppose, by standing at the bins. So if it's something that is brief and not super long ongoing commitment for the students, that's something that helps keep it light and interesting. And it's also something that 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders participate in only. So it's sort of seen as a rite of passage for students to participate in as they, matriculate. But yeah, so Beth schedules it all with the help of teachers who recruit the volunteers, and then she creates the schedule to have the students volunteer for about 1 week out of the school year, is what I understand. And I'm hoping that she can share a little bit about her resources for how she sends that information out and gets those details down. She also shows a training video at the beginning of the school year to all the students, that they've made in-house of what goes where in their system, and it's shown in all the classes. And she also spoke about doing some spot training, during lunch, where she or other staff members will go around table to table, especially with the younger students, and sort of provide some information about what on the tray goes where today. So, similar to, I think, things that Lydia and Andrea spoke about as well, sort of sharing that information in the moment based on what's on the tray today. And I hope that Beth will join us later on, and we'll be able to circle back. If she does, I'll let you know. So that's everything that we have from Pleasanton Unified. Please feel free to ask some questions in the chat, and we'll get to those at the end. And now I'll pass it over to Devin.
Thanks, Mallory. I'm going to introduce Devin as our NCRA member and educator at Foothill Middle School and leader of the Environmentally Concerned Kids Club. And Devin, take it away. I know you do a lot more.
Well, thank you so much, both Mallory and Amanda. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Amanda. I am Devin Jackson, and I am the staff advisor for the Environmentally Concerned Kids Club at Foothill Middle School, which is part of the Mount Diablo Unified School District. And so this right here is some pictures from previous years, and actually even last year, and that is our group in the garden. And our club, we have a mantra of think globally, act locally. Our EC Club is our acronym, and we strive by the end of the 2030 school year or sooner to become a zero waste school. And so my students, I have, I believe 3 or 4 of them here today, and they are going to be speaking today about bin monitoring here at Foothill Middle School. And so they're so excited. They're literally giving up their time after school to do this. They are getting volunteer hours and just good kudos, of course, to be here to speak with you today. So we have the people that are part of the Environmentally Concerned Kids Club. They are 6 7th, and 8th graders. They are part of this environmentally conserved kids club that meets after school from 2:45 to 3:45 every Monday. So I'm going to introduce our president of the environmentally concerned kids club. His name is Connor Valladolid. And can you say something about yourself, Connor? And then we'll go on to the next ones, and then I'll have you start.
Thank you for introducing me. I'm very excited to be here for the Northern California Recycling Association. And I would also like to, is it okay if I introduce our other?
Absolutely. Can you say your grade level, please, Connor? And why environmentally concerned kids clubs, real quickly in 2 words.
Sorry, the second part?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in 7th grade, right? So sorry, what was the second thing you asked me?
The second thing is why EC? Why help the environment?
Well, I mean, I'm in 7th grade, right? And one of the things that which is really stood out was how the amount of plastic we find in the ocean, which is great because this is NCRA. But so I believe there is enough plastic to be bigger than the country of France, and this is pretty bad, along with the rate that global warming is taking over the earth. Obviously it's meant to be there, but not at that rate, and we can't just escape to another planet for this. We have to take care of this one, otherwise the end.
Well said, Connor. Can you introduce our other members, please?
We have Grayson Jane or Hein, who's going to be speaking about our bin monitoring system. We have a 6th grade, he's in 7th grade, and we have a 6th grader named Owen Howitt. He's going to be speaking about composting. We have Jackie, I forgot her last name, sorry, Jackie.
William?
She's not going to, oh yeah, okay. She's not going to be speaking, but she did want to come here. She is also in 6th grade. Unfortunately we did not have any 8th graders who volunteered.
Okay, next slide, please. And Connor, I think you are actually Grayson Jane. Hein,
Yeah.
you're up first.
Okay. Hi, my name is Grayson Jane, and I'm going to talk about bin monitoring and ways we could improve and ways we did it in the past. In the past, we had people sign up to do certain days for bin monitoring, and we continue to do this today. We have grabbers that we use to pick up things out of the bin and put it into the right bin, and we try to tell people why that doesn't go into that can. Some ideas for the future that we could also set up volunteering signups so that people can volunteer to help us monitor the bins and could give a reward after. Another idea is that we could set up signs to help people put things in the right bin and help them sort during lunch and brunch besides just monitoring. Putting up posters could also help people sort better. These are just a few suggestions I had in mind that we could put to use in school. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Grayson. I would like to move on to the next slide as we have, and our next slide is I believe Connor Valladolid is going to talk about waste audits.
Yes, so basically we haven't done ours this year yet, but last year what we would do is we'd have audits where we eat lunch, we have a bunch of bins for, of course, landfill, recycling, and compost. And what we do is every season or during fall, winter, and spring, we would weigh them all, we'd sort them, and then we'd weigh them again. What we can learn from this is we can find out how good kids are at recycling or composting or just sorting in general, and we can see where a lot of stuff is going and how much, or like a lot of what you're going to see is we're going to show how much food is wasted on a daily basis. But that's just one of the things we can analyze using our waste audits. Now can we get
next slide, please?
These are just some statistics that we took care of thanks to our secretaries, and Grayson was actually a secretary at one point. Now we have we can mostly pay attention to the difference of weight at the very end. During this seasons, the only reason the weight for the first one was smaller was because we only weighed a small part of the quad or the lunch area. One of the trends we can see is that there's a large difference in compost each season, which means that kids aren't eating all their food, and they're also not comfortable, or they're not good at composting or sorting their compost yet. Can we skip to the next slide?
Next slide, thank you.
I just figured it would be nice to have a visualizer for what we had before sorting. Left to right is fall, winter, and spring. We can see there's just a small speck of recycling in fall, and it remains small for winter and spring, but it goes in size just like everything else. This is what it looks like before. There's a lot of compost and there's lots of trash. Can we move to the next slide?
Before we move to the next slide, can you move back one real quickly? I just wanted to mention, Connor, you're doing a great job, that in our quad area, which is where the students eat lunch outdoors, we do have an MUR where they can also eat if they need to. We have 7 stations throughout the quad, and those 7 stations, each of them have a food waste green bin, that's a 32-gallon, a 32-gallon recycling bin, and a 32-gallon landfill bin. I know that seems like a lot of stations, and it makes it really tough to really help with monitoring bins, but our Environmentally Concerned Kids Club is doing a great job, and you'll see on the next slide, Connor will show you after sorting.
So we have the before sorting and after sorting. We can see how much compost people have thrown out. One of the things we will talk about is how much what we do with a lot of the compost. But what we do, like I said, we just wanted to show the importance of waste audits and how we can analyze the behaviors of our student body and what we can do to fix our bin monitoring.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Connor. Next slide, please. So our next slide, we had another student, Laszlo, who's Foster, who's unfortunately not here. And so Connor is going to speak about this. This was just to give you more information about how to recruit and schedule student volunteers. We have a 10-minute brunch and a 30-minute lunch. And Connor, please don't read the recruit student volunteers part, but if you could summarize what we're seeing here, please.
Of course. So what we do in EC, sometimes during brunch or lunch, we will go out and help people sort their food waste, and or we'll just sort it ourselves when people put it in the incorrect bin. And when we try our best to get people to learn learn how to sort correctly. And we one thing it doesn't say, but what we do to teach people is that our signs they're usually, we used to have whiteboards, or we'd have signs on the bins themselves saying what should go in there.
Excellent.
Should I?
Yeah, next slide, please.
Okay.
Attracting student participation. So I do want to say real quickly, we get a lot of students in 6th grade that are really energetic about sorting. And then in 7th and 8th grade, it just plummets. So Connor, if you have some golden ideas on how to encourage and attract student participation across grade levels, we would love to hear you. No pressure, of course.
Thank you. But I do have to admit, I'm not the most creative when it comes to recruitment. But luckily Laszlo was. Unfortunately, he can't make it today, but he does have, he did actually write a speech that he unfortunately was not able to.
Okay. Would you like to read his speech or summarize it?
I would like, it won't be too long. So I think if it's okay with you, I'll.
Sure.
it does say Laszlo.
Go ahead.
Start, but he said that I'm going to be talking about the ways we can recruit volunteers or new members to join the EC Club and care about the environment. One method we haven't used but have pitched is that we have signups where you can volunteer during lunch to help people sort things into the right bins. To encourage people to do it, we could give it a reward, like a piece of candy or a sticker. This next method is commonly used and is fairly successful. What we do is we simply put up posters in the 7th and 8th grade classrooms to let people know about the EC Club and how to help the environment. Similar to the one-day sign-up, we've considered a system where each action you do to help the environment, you get an environment point. Once you have accumulated a certain amount of environment points, you get a reward, like a pencil, book, etc. Adding onto the environment point system, we could set up a point system, but on a larger scale. Teachers would tell the class that if they get a certain amount of points, there would be a movie or a pizza party or something like that includes the entire class. The points would be earned by assigning a class of a homework assignment to bring a reusable water bottle the next day or something like that. Based on the amount of students that bring the reusable water bottle the next day, they could earn points for the class. Those were a few of our ideas commonly thrown around during our meetings. Thank you for listening.
Excellent job, Connor. Thank you. Next slide, please. I wanted to point out some quick things here. Thank you so much, Ms. Deming. I would be happy to share some examples of those posters. Excellent. So creative ideas and program continuity. Really, I mean, we don't want to do doom and gloom. But we have a picture here of this was a day where we walked around the school and we picked up trash throughout the school, and this is what we found. I know some of you who have seen these slides before have seen something like this. We see a lot of chip bags, we see a lot of plastic Ziploc bags, a lot of cardboard, we see a lot of Jolly Ranchers wrappers. And we actually one day want to bring these bags with recyclables and compost and trash. We want to put them up so students can see how much they make and what could actually be recycled, what could actually be food wasted, meaning composted, and what could really go in the garbage. We also like to do like a share table, which you saw that in the earlier slide. And also for program continuity, we have this, this is like a survey that we did. We did an Earth Warrior 2 weeks, 6R challenge, like a change of habit challenge. And we looked at it at the beginning of 2 weeks. And we did this with all of my 6th grade middle school science students. And we did we being the EC Club, the Northern California Recycling Association, Recycle Smart, Jessica Robinson. We did this whole 2 week change of habit challenge with lessons, and we guided and supported monitoring and sorting, and we listened to videos and Zero Waste Chef. And then we did a post-test survey, and we really did find that the student actions changed, not by a lot, but they still changed. So we're using that to really encourage more and more people to want to monitor. And also, some of our 6th graders in EC, they get called, oh, you're the trash people. Oh, you're the dirty trash people. You know what? We're supporting our Earth. We are doing our part, and we welcome everybody who wants to help. Next slide. And then we have some encouragement videos, and we have Mr. Howitt is going to tell us about composting, and we're ready for you, Mr. Howitt.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Owen. I'm a 6th grader here at EC, and I'll be talking about composting. We are in our 4th year of being a NOAA Ocean Guardian school, and one of the things we've done as a year 4 school is composting. As we've done our waste audits that Connor spoke about and done all the bin monitoring brought up by Grayson, we compost everything in the compost bins. These go in some black containers that consist of vegetation, soil. The contents of our compost bins and worms to help the decomposure. Additionally, we've managed an edible garden which is partially sustained by our rain barrels that save the little rainfall we get here in Walnut Creek. I do believe that I've said enough, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask Connor, Grayson, and I.
Thank you so much, Mr. Howitt. And at the next slide, that is the end. The videos are in the chat now. And we want to say thank you all so much from Foothill Middle School. Connor Valadota, great job. Grayson Jane, great job. Owen Howitt, great job. And we turn it over to the next speaker. Thank you.
Yes, it is a wonderful experience to see and hear Owen, Connor, and Grayson share how you feel about taking care of our earth. Thank you so much for sharing that with us today. And go out and play outside. You're welcome to stay and listen. Mallory, do we have Beth back from Hearst Elementary? Do we want to go back?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's do that.
All right.
All right, let me
All right.
back in the slides for you. Go ahead.
Perfect. All right. Well, our last speaker from Pleasanton Unified is Beth Louderback from Hearst Elementary School. Like Andrea and Lydia, she has a really successful program preventing contamination. And I gave a little bit of an overview, Beth, of what you've got going on. And I was hoping you could fill folks in on, sort of the process of you sending out the form to get registration, how you schedule, and any other details you want to share about how you make it happen.
Yeah, sure. So I think it was shared with you that we do have a high number of students who are involved in our Go Green program. I just ran a few numbers while our middle schoolers were talking, because you were talking about involvement going down through the years. And I come from a middle school. I know that once those 7th and 8th graders hit it, they're like kind of over it. We have 3 grade levels also who are doing our bin monitoring. They start in 3rd grade. Currently, we have 56% of our 3rd graders who signed up to be bin monitors. They are in one lunchtime is our 1st through 3rd graders. So our 3rd graders are really looked up to by our younger students as those, big kids who are out there helping. And so it's kind of like this rite of passage, because for 2 years, they've been helped along by these older kids, and they cannot wait to sign up to be those big kids out there. Then the 4th and 5th graders have their own lunch period. We have 34% of our 4th graders signed up and 39% of our 5th graders signed up. So it's pretty consistent across those 2 years how many kids continue to help out. And we do have some new kids who come out too. At the beginning of the year, what I do is I just take a video of one of our current students going through the lunch line, getting all of their food sorted, sorting it appropriately, talking about what types of things to look out for, and then, get excited, be on the lookout for the sign up coming so that you can help teach our students how to be bin monitors. All of the teachers show the video, our science specialist shows the video, so they've seen it many times. And it's like they're anticipating the program to start. We don't start it on day one. We kind of work with our students, with our noon supervisors and our just staff members out there helping the students to sort. So they're anticipating them then being able to be a part of this. I think, honestly, the biggest draw for them is the fact that they get pickers, they get grabbers, and it's this special tool that only they get to use. And the bin monitors are out there and they're just helping the students to, if there's contamination, they're plucking it out of there with their grabber and putting it in the right bin. They're picking things up off the ground. And last year, when I was recruiting, I didn't even talk about an end of the year party. We did have an end of the year party. We had an ice cream. It was actually more like frozen. I don't know even what it is, but it wasn't ice cream. But anyhow, we all came out. It was a community event, and we celebrated their help, but they didn't even know through the year that they were going to have this. It was a little bit of a bonus. The kids this year are asking if they get another party. So word has gotten out, but that's certainly not why they do it. They do it really because they are contributing to our school. They're happy to be role models and mentors. And because we have such big participation, they only end up working 1 week, probably every 6 weeks. So it doesn't feel like they're missing a ton of recess time. It's quick. They probably are out there for 5 or 10, probably just 5 minutes before they're released to go play. Any questions? I saw something come up in the chat. Let me see if that was a question. Oh no, that was for the last speaker.
All right, thanks so much, Beth.
Yes, thank you. We're going to hold the questions until the end was the thought. And our next speaker is from Joaquin Moraga Intermediate School, Stacey Navarro. And I'm not sure if she's here yet, but I'm going to get moving here towards those slides. If you, oh, there it was.
Welcome to JM Food Waste Station.
Okay, there's her voice. If you are here, Stacey, I know she was commuting home, and I
am here.
Yay! Okay,
Yeah.
I have a few slides for you because because of your Recycle Smart Waste Buster Award for the 75% diversion last year. I popped onto the Joaquin Moraga campus to see them in action and see what multiple year effort has produced. And so thank you so much, Stacey, for joining us as you're commuting home from school, a teacher, and one of the leads of this great team at Joaquin Moraga Middle School. So I'll just kind of click through the slides here as you're talking.
Okay, well, I'll give you guys an overview. So I'm the environmental coordinator at JM, and we have 3 waste stations set up on campus. And we have them in areas where most students sit to eat their lunch. And students eat their lunch for the first 15 minutes of the lunch period. And then after that, they can go, play. So we have the station set up. So at the 15-minute bell, students go to those stations and dispose of their trash, compost, and recycling. Running the stations, we have students we have set it up from their 5th period class. What we have found that has worked over the past couple of years is every 5th period class has their students sign up to work a week of food waste. So a student will actually only work 1 day out of the school year. They end up staying at the station for about 25 minutes into lunch. It helps us with organizing and making sure that all the cans are separate, and it helps students. We found when there's somebody behind the food waste station helping direct students where to put their trash, compost, and recycling, we found that students will dispose of their food accordingly. Sorry, that's my daughter in the background if you hear that. So by having them stand there, that helps. So we keep them there for about 25 minutes going into lunch. We have a lead teacher, and that lead teacher helps set those students up, goes over at the beginning of lunch with them, aprons on, gloves on. We have the grabbers as well. And like the other school, yes, they absolutely love using the grabbers. And so that gets them excited to work those food waste stations. And that lead teacher goes over everything with them. And then at the end, the lead teacher will come back around and dismiss those students when everything looks like it is separated as it should be. The students are doing a very good job as the year progresses as well. We started the school year with teachers taking the first 2 weeks of school. Teachers would sign up for this lunch duty. After those first 2 weeks, we had leadership students sign up for the next 2 weeks of school. And then after that, that's when we started fifth period classes, and I've been doing it alphabetically by teacher's last name. What's come of this is I actually have students coming up during lunch asking, how do we get to sign up for this? Which is usually sixth graders, but it's very exciting that students want to be part of their school and this program. Some successes that we've had are not only with the diversion rate, but working with our custodians has been very helpful, building that relationship with them, knowing when to empty it, what bags to put in. That's been really helpful. And if there is an issue, I'll usually speak with the assistant principal, who then speaks to the custodian. And then I'll follow up with the custodian to see how things are going and what we can do to make things better. Picking up trash as we're walking around as teachers, the custodians see that and they really appreciate that, and that helps them be on our side in relationship and really help this program work the way that it does. I do believe, I'm not sure if I'm missing anything there. Please add in if I am. That's generally our program. And we've been doing this since 2011. And again, one of the biggest things that they found when they first started to now is, instead of having multiple stations out all over campus, having those 3 stations has really helped us over the years.
Thank you so much, Stacey. I did find that as very unique, having the 3 stations. And I think what it really does is, I took a picture. The monitoring, the accountability, I think is huge. Also, one thing I thought that was unique was how there's red lines marking where the students are not allowed to eat, so that they're not, dispersed all over campus, which also makes litter prevention and sorting challenging. So you can see the red lines there. But yeah, I did. I took these shots from far away because you see where the students are seated, and the bin stations are, they have to pick up their stuff and walk all the way there. So litter still happens, yes, but we'll be watching you. I like that motto that student had put up there. I think there's a lot to be said with the bin monitoring from my perspective. So thank you so much to all of our speakers. I am going to stop sharing and we can address the questions in chat. I think Mallory was going to help us identify those questions.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't see questions going on in the chat, too many of them anyway. So if anyone has one going on in their mind right now, feel free. I saw some requests for resources to be shared.
I see Jeremy has his hand up. So Jeremy, you can unmute yourself and ask away.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jeremy Drake. I live in Missoula, Montana. I am working with the Missoula County Public School District, and I'm really curious about the using the support within the school at the lunch sorting stations. And the last speaker, my question is for the last speaker. Sorry, I'm out and about, so I don't know all the details. I don't know your name, but my question is, you said that you had teachers sign up to help the first 2 weeks and then leadership students sign up the weeks after that. Could you talk a little bit about the process of how that worked? Were you the point person, or who was the kind of lead making that all happen and coordinating all of that?
Yes,
Thank you.
so that was me. I would coordinate it with teachers. So teachers, the added bonus for teachers was they were paid for it. So that got teachers to sign up. And I had a spreadsheet, and teachers just signed up for the first 2 weeks. I asked them at prior to school starting at one of our professional development days, and that let them know I had my computer there, so they could just come straight to me and tell me, or put it in themselves. And then I connected with a leadership teacher, and before school started, actually a few weeks before school started in the summer, asking her what she would think about having leadership work the second 2 weeks of school, and had a spreadsheet for her as well, signed up for each station and the days of the week and the dates, so that all she would need to do is put in the names. So that way I would know which students would be there for each day. And if they don't show up, either I know them and can ask them to join, or we ask the office to call them over the intercom, and then they would come to the food waste station.
Excellent, thank you. And can you remind me, what's your role with the school?
I am the environmental coordinator for this position myself, but I am a teacher at the school.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks for that great work.
Stacey, I have a follow-up question on that. The funding source, the mechanism that you were doing to give teachers that was a stipend, what were you using, the Wastebuster funds? What funding were you
Yes,
using?
so that comes from the stipend that we have. And so for those first 2 weeks, we would pull money from our stipend to pay teachers. And then for the rest of the year, the teacher leaders that we have working 1 day a week each day, that actually just comes from the school. You're working lunch duty, and so that's part of the school paying teachers.
Thanks.
Right, any other questions? I see a
This
comment.
is Jeremy again. I just have one more follow-up question, if I may. For Stacey again, the environmental coordinator role, is that unique to your school? Is that also a paid position, or is that a volunteer position?
I don't know if it's unique to our school, but it is a paid position, and I do get a stipend for the year. I can have someone else help me, or I can take it on myself. So I do get a small stipend for it.
Thanks.
All right, I see a comment in the chat from Deborah saying that she'd love to see the videos. I think that's in reference to Devin's speakers. So that would be a fantastic resource to share if you can, Devin. But please feel free to ask any other questions and unmute.
Just so everyone knows, we have put the videos in the chat. It looks like Nancy's doing it again right now. So those videos are available. And also the recording of this will be on our website, and the PowerPoint presentation. Is there anyone else who wants to ask something before we share our announcements?
And then at some point, Devin, I would love to see the students' posters, the announcements to join the bin monitoring. Would love to see those examples.
Yes, I will be happy to share those with you all once they get shared to me. So thank you. And the videos that are in the chat, they're roughly about maybe 2 to 3 minutes in length. And one of them was a video that was actually just filmed a few weeks ago and was edited completely by students. All of it completely by students. I didn't do any of the editing. So, and that's phenomenal that that they did that. It was Miss Million who was on but didn't speak. And so I'm happy to share anything that was in our video, I'm sorry, in our presentation if people want and need more information. I do have a question for some of the speakers before and after my students spoke. The question I have is, and I don't mean to be negative by asking this, I want to stay positive. If a student approaches one of your bin monitoring students and wants to be a silly person and be on the let's just say not so nice end of phrasing words in middle school, what is the typical educational approach that your students usually take to redirect that student? And I know that's a long-winded question, but if somebody is still on from the other speakers who might be able to provide an answer to that.
Yeah, any of the speakers have an experience like that?
If not, that's okay.
Upon my observation at Joaquin Moraga Intermediate School, the students are always paired up with a teacher. So I think that helps prevent that type of.
Excellent.
And I also observed that there was an area where students were not getting up and picking up their lunches and taking it to the bins. So the teachers who were on, or the noon supervisors, I'm not sure, they were contemplating closing off that area for eating.
Oh,
so so anyway, I don't know if on the elementary school level in Pleasanton, if there has been any more negative remarks and how to dissuade that. Feel free to speak up.
I would say that this has happened maybe once at our school, and we decided to create a contract together around what we thought would be just the responsibility of the green team, what was the responsibility of others, what sort of characteristics, and qualities a green team member would have, why we were on the green team. Just we kind of created a mission, vision, and then sort of guidelines of expectations and behavior. So everyone was clear. So then when expectation wasn't followed, then we could point back to, oh, but we created these norms together. So how can we all collectively move forward from here? And we haven't so far had to kick him off the team, but that was sort of the first step in addressing the issue.
Thank you.
At our school, we actually meet regularly. So if somebody has something they want to bring to the table, there's an opportunity for them to share. I recently had one of our noon supervisors when we met. She had some concerns about how the kids were recycling. So we talked about it as a team and we came up with a plan about how to better support the students when they were recycling. So it's just really working together. And the team's voluntary, so we actually ask for who was interested in being there. So really everybody who's on the team is excited about recycling and is passionate about helping kids learn more.
Yeah, and at Hearst, we haven't run into any, students out who are coming to do the recycling, calling our bin monitors names or anything like that. We haven't run into anything negative like that. And I think, that's probably by virtue of being an elementary school. We just don't have that kind of stuff happening as much. So I can't help you there.
That's okay. Thank you. That's good feedback. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else who's had experience in the middle school, lunchtime, any support there, we all welcome that as we are evolving our students from elementary school to middle school and then high school. Middle school seems to be a challenging spot for some of us.
Real quickly, Mr. Valadoid, if you're still on, I don't know if you are. Do you have any thoughts? And sorry to put you on the spot, but you're awesome. Any thoughts?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Mallory and Amanda. That was my question.
Okay. Any other thoughts, comments before I share our announcements?
I have a question for Devin's team around logistics.
Sorry, I'm sharing, but go ahead.
I just wondered, how do you, I saw that you collected all the trash on sort of a tarp and then you weigh it. How does that happen? That you put all the trash, one that you put all the trash on the tarp and that it's not a big, huge, soppy mess of garbage that isn't just for the landfill. And then also, how do you weigh it and how do you sort of monitor all those things together?
Thank you so much. That is an excellent question. I will say that it is the students. They are the ones that keep me on my toes. And they're the ones that make sure that we follow the correct steps in the process. We have also made many mistakes over the years, and also made the waste auditing process too complicated in the past, and we've tried to simplify it in the weeks and months since the past. So what we do is when it comes to the waste audit, we pick like 2 stations. That's a great question about the steps. We pick 2 stations out of the 7 because we recognize that in an hour we cannot do all 7 stations, and that would just be too much. But we do our best to try and find the 2 stations that would represent an average or a typical amount of waste in the 3 waste streams. And then what we do is we pull the bags. We have clear bags that are in our 3 waste streams, and we'll tie up the bags, and then we will do an initial weight to find out how much is in each of the bags. And we have these scales that Recycle Smart and or a grant that we got helped us pay for. So they're the scales that you would see at like a grocery store, but not as big. So they have the handle, and then we look at the weight of the bag. So it's a typical pounded scale. And from there, we get the initial weight, and then we record it. And then what we do is 1 by 1, we take each bag, like we'll start with the compost, and we'll dump out all the contents of the compost. And it is food waste, and it is wonderful. It's delicious stuff. I mean, not really, and it smells wonderful. And so then we have our gloves on, and we go through piece by piece by piece by piece by piece. And the students are like, oh, look at this. This is a half-eaten sandwich. Oh, look at this. This is a uneaten bar of food. And then they found candy that they've actually eaten. And what we'll do there is we have the 3 bins up next to the tarp, and we walk over 1 by 1. It takes us a full hour, sometimes even longer, to go through it. So we need the full EC meeting, and we walk each item over to the correct bin. And then what we do is once we've emptied 1 by 1 the trash, the recycling, and then the food waste, then what we do is we now have the remaining bags, and we weigh each of those bags. So we had the initial weight per bag, and then we get the final weight. And then that way we find out how successful our students were in sorting. And to make sure that we are not what's the word I'm looking for? Mixing things up and trying to remember which bag is which. We have to be very careful of like, oh, this is a recycling bag. This is a food waste bag. This is a landfill bag. But sometimes, you know, we're middle schoolers and I'm innocent and I make mistakes. So we do the best we can. What I will say is, as much as we try to get accuracy and accurate readings, we do find out that sometimes we lose miraculously some waste somewhere and it doesn't show up in other places. So oops, we try. And then also, I know we are. Thank you, Devin. And then also, I will say the last thing is, unfortunately, our students are not getting better and better at sorting. They're getting worse and worse. But hey, we have a growth period. So hopefully I answered your questions. If not, I promise I will give you more information at a later time. But we are at time, so sorry.
Thank you so much. No, it's an important, and there are resources out there on conducting waste audits. So if you, on the next slide, I will share, has our NCRA schools spreadsheet with a lot of shared resources. And so there might be some of that information there. And quickly, I wanted to plug a NCRA member meeting tonight. And the link is in the chat. Please join and find out about the other amazing committees with NCRA. And here is the link to our resource. And I'm sure Nancy has already put that in the chat. Keep in touch with us. There's our email. And thank you so much to all of our speakers. Really appreciate you taking the time to share what you have successfully done and experienced at your schools. And mostly I want to thank the students. Yay!